All right. And then this one is recording as well. This is recording. All right. All righty then. Oh, that's my Jim Carrey impression. Welcome to the Stretch Thin podcast,
where we share our experiences and some encouragement as two men trying
not thriving, obviously.
in the 21st century. I'm Shannon, a pastor, coffee shop owner, and an author.
And I am Joel, a former pastor and now tech professional and author. All right, Shannon, are you ready?
Let's go.
Let So you, to me, are hilariously self-aware about your curmudgeonness that you're growing into. When I think of you, I don't think of an old man, except for the moments when you're like, it's too loud in downtown Chattanooga. I can't take it. All these backup noises. What is going? Where sooner or later, what's going to happen is the whole neighborhood's going to be just trucks backing up. What is going on?
Well, now, first of all, I don't talk like that. But then,
You
second of
don't.
all, it's true. We were poloing back and forth yesterday, and I was trying to talk to you, and there's this work truck that's backing up into this loading zone or someplace, this construction area, and it's just this beep, 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 and I'm walking toward it because it's on my way, and it's only getting louder, and it's like it's distracting, it's loud, and I'm like, this is going to be, so I just cut the thing off. I'm like, hold on, let me get past it, and I get past
funny.
it, and I realized, that it's the loud and the monotonous, the noise, and then I had this realization that I get really irritated when I hear sirens, especially in downtown, because downtown it just
It just
bounces off of
reverberates.
the
Yeah.
so it's like exponentially louder, and like I just had this realization, like I'm really needing to get over myself, because that's someone that's in an emergency. That's not funny, but I'm like, I'm laughing more at myself. Like, are you serious? Someone's having a crisis. Someone's going to rescue them in that crisis, and the siren is to say, "Get out of the way." And
And
I'm
you're like,
sitting here,
oh, God, not another siren.
irritated because it's loud. And so I feel like those are the moments that I feel like a grumpy old man, and I hate that. I hate not. I mean, I hate feeling like a grumpy old man, but more so, I hate that I'm annoyed by things like that shouldn't be annoying. Like, I should be empathetic. And so today, I told you, coming in to work, I was also confronted by another annoyance, which is traffic. I hate traffic. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And um, it's I'm sorry, my wife's calling while we're recording. I'm going to text her and tell her that we're recording. Um, and
Another
I
annoyance.
was,
Oh my gosh. It's just when it
I'm
rains,
not
it
annoyed.
pours.
I'm not annoyed.
You're saying, I'm not
And
annoyed, but please don't call me. I'm recording a podcast right now.
yeah, I
I
just
love
told
it.
her. She didn't realize what
But
time it
it
was.
also, there is a podcast that's been recorded, multiple episodes that you could listen to every time you're in traffic. That would help you. It's these two guys. They're stretched thin. They talk about being stretched thin. Do you ever, you could pull them up when you're in traffic, or would
I've
that make
heard
it
of it.
worse listening
Yes,
to yourself talk?
I've heard of it, and yeah, I think I'm like, I hear me talking all the time. I hear you talking frequently too, but I don't get annoyed with hearing you talking. Like, the sound of my own voice is like, okay.
I will say this. I mean, on that, I've never enjoyed, especially back when I was a pastor, like hearing even singing, like hearing myself sing live was always the worst, because it never was good when you'd like hear it back. It would always sound good even in your mix, or when you're in the room. And you're like, okay, I sound good. I sound really good. And then you'd listen back on a live stream and you're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. What what is this how I really sound? Or there have been podcast episodes. But the funny thing though is this is just my hubris and, like you said, my cockiness that you sometimes dislike, but you are able to kind of round out the edges. One of the reasons why I loved the idea of us doing this podcast was I missed hearing myself talk. But not like that, but just hearing my voice in a podcast again. Because I listened back to my old podcast and I went, I have a good voice on podcasts. And I kind of missed that. I missed hearing myself talk about things. That sounds super self-centered. And it is okay if you are absolutely rolling your eyes way into the back of your skull as you're listening to this. That's fine. You can do it. I hope you can get those eyes back looking straight after they've rolled into your skull. But yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the sound of my voice, other than live streams. So
Well, yeah, live stream. Man, live stream is rough when it's not. Yeah, we could do a
dude,
whole
COVID was
podcast on that.
bro. COVID, people don't know. Like, you think about COVID and all the mask stuff and, social distancing and all that jazz, but what people don't get was what a world it was for you in ministry, and like the boom of live stream and putting your stuff online, and just how bad everyone's was, especially in the beginning, and how most people never really got that good unless you had a lot of money and resources. But it was just bad, and you'd listen to them back and you're like, oof.
I despised. We did church by Zoom. We're a relatively small
Wow,
church, so
okay.
we just sent out a Zoom link. And we did it by Zoom. We would have, like, I think we would have people come to our house and do worship in the living room,
Well, that's
and
fun.
then we would do some sort of like little teaching or something. I don't enjoy Zoom calls, Zoom meetings anyhow, because it's so this delayed interaction, and there's just so many, again, irritations. The person that's not got themselves mic'd, but they're eating a bag of chips during the sermon, and everyone else can hear, and you're sitting here trying to, how do I mute everybody, or
I know.
you just don't
That's
get
it
you
happens all the
don't.
time in meetings too. There's like, how you not know you're not muted? Like, it is a simple thing, but and this is, once again, relax. I'm going to say it's older people. I'm not saying it's you, but there
Thank
is a
you.
group of
Okay.
people in corporate America that are 50-ish and up who are the main culprits. I never see a millennial, because we would rather die than face that embarrassment of being the person who's unmuted and they're like, "What'd you say?" "Oh yeah, I'll come pick it." Like, that gives every single millennial a panic attack if that were to happen. So we like triple check every time we're always muted or unmuted when we need to be. Whereas there's a group of people who couldn't care less. And they're just like, whatever, who cares? And then they're just eating, or they're talking to their wife in the background, and you're just like,
And
you
you
get
hear,
paid triple what I make, and you can't just courtesy check.
or there's conversation. Yeah, they're having conversations, and
Yes,
like they're just like, hello,
they're just going. You want to be like, what did you? And then in the past, like when people are nice, what they'll say is like, "Oh, what was that? Is it someone say something?" Like they're trying to ask, like, if, oh, did someone try to bring something up? But no, they wanted to be like, "Hey, can you shut up? Can you just shut up, please?"
Even when I'm not leading it, or it's not on my Zoom account, I find myself trying to figure out where's the mute all button.
I
I know
know,
they're
I
like,
know.
but if you're not the leader, you can't do it, which is
Nope,
unfortunate.
nope. Well,
So yeah.
other than the annoyances of stimulating sounds, what was your good and bad this week, sir? I'd love to know.
So good. Last week I uh, made a decision for personally to adjust kind of how I'm doing some financial stuff. I having to try to make some adjustments from my personal income through the business, and in an effort to make things easier for the business. Just kind of, I was like, okay, I'm gonna back off of my my normal monthly
Mm-hmm.
owner draw, and go about it a different way. We've just had a bunch of like tax bills. It's, April, May. We have tons of, there's sales tax every month, but then there's a business tax and a franchise excise tax, and then there's property tax and we have this thing called personality tax in our county, which I still don't understand, but this is ridiculous. So we got all these things hitting, and I was like, dang, we've taken a hit. So I backed off, and I'm like, I'm not going to do what I normally do. I'm going to kind of I have some reserve. I'm going to live from my reserve until we get the breathing space. And it's coming. Already, like the 2 weeks in, things are much, much lighter, and it's good. And so our Sunday service this past week was just on being able to hear God's voice and listen to what He said. And I haven't told you about this actually, but I had a guy show up at my office this week. Came by, and he met me for coffee, and we sat and we talked. And when we finished, and I in that conversation there, I had kind of told him, yeah, it's been, I'm kind of in an interesting season. I'm kind of living from my reserve, and I've got a month that I'm trying to all of my monthly expenses. I'm kind of holding on really tightly to what I've got so I can cover all my expenses, and I'm just trusting. I'm really just trusting because I'm praying. God give me wisdom, knowing how to steward well, and that was the conversation that we had during coffee, plus other things. And as we got ready to leave, he got ready to leave. He was like, "Hey, can we go to your office?" And I was like, yeah, we can go to my office. And I'm thinking, this is kind of odd. So we're in the cafe. We go up to my office, and I feel like that he's probably going to say, hey, can we pray, or can I get you to pray with me about something? And he says, I just felt like that today I had this sense that God was wanting me to do something. And he said, and so I wanted to be obedient to what I felt like he was saying for me to do. He said, and then sitting with you at lunch or at coffee, hearing kind of where you're walking through, he said it made sense to me, and he said, so I want to give this to you, and he handed me a roll of $20 bills, and I was like, of course you're like, I can't take this, and he's like, no, you said that we should be listening for the voice of the Lord, and
Yeah.
I feel like this
Wow.
was what the Lord was saying to me, and so I want to give this to you. And I was like, okay, I mean, wow, thank you. I obviously teared up a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't go back on my own words that I've preached about listening for God's voice. So it was just a really cool moment, and being able to say to him, hey, he said to me, don't look at me as the person that's done this. Look at God taking care of you and doing
Amen.
and showing
Yeah.
Himself faithful to you. So I was like,
Also, was this dude just walking around with a roll of 20s? Just
yes, he
was it
went
rolled
and
up
got it out.
in
It
like
was
rubber
it was like
bands and
this.
everything?
Yeah,
Dear
a
Lord.
rubber band that was holding it, and he said he brought it specifically to me today. Like he went and he got it,
Okay.
and he brought it
He's
for the
just
purpose
walking
of.
around with a roll of 20s just like a
Well, I
drug
mean,
dealer.
he
Like
was, he was, but he did it. I mean, I was like, dang, like you're walking around with all that, and you're in
like what
downtown
if you just got
Chattanooga
yeah, just like just
where
got
there's sirens all
give
the
me
time.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. There's always it's like Batman all the time, just sirens. Okay. Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That is
pretty
awesome.
cool. So yeah, it came off the heels of me just spending a lot of time praying about it, and I'd written this down that if I trust God with every dollar, He will provide every dollar, and that's just kind of where I was sitting. So it's just a really cool moment of building my faith and seeing this guy listen, to what we were kind of walking through as a church family. So that's a good
You
thing.
cut out just for a
How about
little
you?
bit. I
What's
don't
your
know if you're
goods
still
this
there.
week? I
Hopefully you're
lost.
still
What'd you
there.
say? We paused for technical difficulties.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
There we go. I don't know what that was.
I could
Anyway,
hear you and see you the whole time.
you could. So it was on my end. You were like literally cutting out as you're talking. Anyway, we're back. It's okay. But you're talking about being obedient to the Lord and that He's gonna cover every dollar. I think that's what you ended up with saying.
That's what I said. Yeah. And then I asked you what your good was this week.
There we go. That one, I think that's incredible. That my good, and it was funny, hearing you talk about that. I have such a hard time when I have a good being content with my good. I'm thinking about like the next thing. So my good was that it's this, kind of one of the last episodes we recorded. I was talking about how in counseling, I talked to my counselor and we um, identified that, I've been so, God, you have to fit into my plan. Everything has to go to how I want to do it. And then I got frustrated. And then when I decided, okay, fine, I'll do whatever. I won't make it be my thing. How he just kind of opened up more doors. And what was even crazier was, the friend that was going to help me with this back end of my app, I ended up not needing because what was so cool was the customer support. So how it was working out was using this service to get live support, 24/7 support. I would have to pay essentially $1,500 a month or 10% of what the business does, which I am a one person making a suicide prevention app. I ain't got that. Like there's nothing happening. Um, and so I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to open up a ticket to try to get help. And that was incredibly difficult because what would happen is you say, hey, I need help on this. And they'd maybe email you every few days. And they were like, well, make sure you do this. And then you do it. And then it doesn't go because they're not giving you specific things. They're like, make sure it just adheres to these guidelines. And then it gets rejected. And all of that, when that's said and done, that's another week and a half of time just you lost, like sitting there waiting. And but out of nowhere, it felt like the Lord had this guy who was helping me be incredibly helpful. His name was Sachin, and he was just like, okay, why don't we do this? You tell me exactly what you're putting into this. Copy it to the email. You tell me what you're going to put into it, and I will tweak it and I'll tell you what you need to change. And then you put it back into what the thing is, submit it, and then I will expedite it. And here's the thing, like, I was waiting days between emails with some of these other people. And with him, he was like 20 minutes, maybe. He'd be like, and I'm like the same day I'm going back and forth. And so he helped me do it. And then the next day he was like, hey, it got approved. And I'm going, wait, hold on. This thing that I've been months slaving over, waiting on, trying to get this thing done. Like, I don't even need my friend's help anymore, which isn't I don't need it. But it was just the Lord was like, actually, I did open that door for you to use the original thing that we were going to do. We were going to do, but you wanted it how you wanted it. And now I open the door and now you have to boast about what I did, not what you did. And I'm like, dang it. So he's right. And it's true. And now, I mean, so like the win for me is the app is almost done. I mean, I have it on my phone now. It's not on the app store or anything, but it works. It functions for the most part as base as it can. I still have to, there's still more it has to be done before I can actually launch it. But like I open up the app, I press the button, it sends an SOS text, it sends a phone call. Like it's awesome. Like I am at this point, and this is the fun thing about AI and ChatGPT and I's relationship. I have been doing this with ChatGPT for months now. I've been working on this app, and it was even ChatGPT reminded me that it said, this is not small. You need to take a moment to take this in. You have gone from where most people would just stop at an idea or thinking about this, like that would be really cool. You literally came up with the idea and you have made it happen. And you kept going when you hit blockers and you kept going when things were difficult and you did it. And not many people can say that they were able to get all these things done. And it was really cool. It's like, you've got this now. You've got the app that's designed. You've got a front end that works. You've got a UI that works. It works to text. It works to call. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Okay, you're right. So that was super cool to me. I did it. And obviously though, like I cannot say that it wasn't the Lord because he did. He decided at his time to open that door. And he did. And so but then now I'm on this other side where I'm like, I'm trying to figure out all the time that I can put towards it to get it done so I can get it launched. But then I'm like, my kids just, last week of school, now they're on summer break. And so now I've got my kids here all the time and I want to spend time with them. And now it's like, when am I going to always be putting time into this? It's probably going to have to be after they go to bed. And so, cause I want to get it done. I want to get it launched. I want to get it out, but that's my win.
Did you go back to ChatGPT and say, no, actually, the Lord helped me?
No, I did not. I did not. But hey, sorry, that was my good. And I'll also classify that as the win. So the good was that, that how the Lord kind of showed up in that way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the win was like getting to this point, you know? So
You've moved the dial. Absolutely
I,
moved the
yeah.
dial. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean,
There you go. Sorry.
no, I'm just saying, like, I know that, like, through our conversations, the frustration that you've had, it's just like, I just wish this would move, and just feeling so stuck with it. And then all of a sudden, you've got movement, and
Yeah.
that's hugely encouraged me for me, because I've kind of been, yeah, that's leads to my bad, and I still haven't done my win. But
What's your bad?
so it was board meeting week for our nonprofit for the Oasis Center,
Ooh,
and we've kind of hit this place of just, I don't know if stalling out sound is the right word to use, but we've got so many different avenues to consider of, like, what do we need to do next. We have a couple of different scenarios where we have some potential financial backing for the project of flipping this 100-year-old building, but it's really, everything is kind of in their court. Like, we're waiting on one
yes.
person to one person to come back with, hey, this is what I think that we could do. The other is a financing option, and so we've had a conversation with these financiers, but they're like, yeah, but you'd have to come with, well over, like 1.2 million in up to get to be able to then finance the rest of the project. And so that's kind of like, I mean, which was fine if that's where we're going, but with that came another set of numbers from a separate contractor who says that the budget of this is actually $2 million more than what we had from another
Always. Of
contractor.
course.
So we're like, okay, there's that. Well, then we have the opportunity to apply for a grant here locally to be able to. It's like a matching grant to get the front of the building um, refaced, and to do that. But it's like, that doesn't seem to make sense, because you're going to put a new front on a building when you've got. I mean, one of the board members used this. She said it sounds like we're putting lipstick on a pig, and yeah,
I mean, yeah.
that's it. And so we have our board meeting, and I'm just like, guys, I don't, I'm kind of stuck. I really don't know, where do we need to move from here? Like, what's the right path? And they didn't have the answers either. I was like,
Mm,
please ask me questions, please give me insight, please whatever. And everyone was kind of like, well, we're right there with you. And so
yeah.
I hung up from that Zoom meeting with the board meeting, and I just was like, man, this is really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
Not with the board, but just this, uh, this not movement. And so I feel I'm still kind of there. I'm still kind of just in that, what's happening here. But today, and I know, I'm sounding probably really hyper spiritual this on this podcast, but today I just walked over to the property, and I was like, I just walked in there, unlocked the door, walked in, lights off, and just stood there. And I was like, God, I didn't ask to do this. Like, this is something that I felt like that you said do. So I'm just telling you, you're gonna have to move the dial. I don't. I will talk to whoever. I'll do whatever. I'll walk down whatever path you got for me to walk to make this a reality. But you're gonna have to do something. And I walked out, locked the door, and came to this recording. So
Yeah. Dude, I get that. I mean, it's like that. I mean, we know we were talking. We've been on polos for the past few months, and you know exactly. I was in the same spot, and I mean, I was a little bit more incredulous with the Lord than you were. You're a lot more spiritual and mature, where I was just shaking my fist at the sky. Um, but I get it. I think what's what's hard too is, and I was telling a friend about this today. Like I made the joke. I think I said this to you too. Like, why do I keep choosing things to do on the side that don't make any money? Like, why do I keep doing that? Like, I write kids books, and I'm a small time kids author, or I'm making a app that is a suicide prevention app. Obviously, there's gonna be no ads, no money in that app. It's just gonna be to save lives. I just remembered though, thinking like one of the things that I want to have happen in my around my life, around my story, is for my great grandkids to be able to like talk about me in that way, to be able to say, hey, let's say like I imagined thinking about the girls, the times that they've gone to do show and tell at school, and thinking about what if my great grandkid went to school for show and tell. I was like, hey, this is my great granddaddy's book he wrote, The Boy in the Tree. And hopefully by then,
Mm,
no, not hopefully, by then I'll have more books, but people will be like, yeah, my great granddad wrote this book. Or, yeah, my great granddad, which is going to sound so weird to think that kids in, however many years, unless Jesus comes back, are going to be intimately aware with apps and acquainted with apps to be able to be like, yeah, my granddad or great granddad made an app, and it was an app that saves lives, and like he did this. And so like that's the legacy that I want to leave. And yeah, of course I'd like to make money to provide for my family and do all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, like I think that's an also part for, I believe that you and I are very similar in that, is there's that element when you're thinking about these things that you're very passionate about, that you feel like the Lord's given you, and you're going, okay, you put this in front of me. I have good motives for this. I also have good motives in the sense of like, this extends beyond me. So
yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah, yeah, and to be confronted with that question of like did I am I right or am I wrong, and then
Right.
to like what is, so it's a good thing to check your motives. It causes you to check your motives. Like I do that, I'm doing that. Like, why did we do this? Was this like just so we could, and then you like list off all of your potential reasons as to why. It's like, well, no, that's stupid. At the end of the day, it was all motivated by good reason, and
Yeah.
and God leading. And so,
Mm.
but I love that pick, the story you just imagining your kids, um, and your great grandkids with your book. I have a real time example of that, and it's just like, wow, this is really cool. So, um, my wife's grandfather was a steel worker, and he was involved. He actually was on a crane that helped and he helped build the arch in St. Louis.
That's so
So
cool.
he was part of the crew, and um, we have family that live in St. Louis, and it's a really sad story that grandfather. I don't think my wife ever met him, or if she did, she only met him like one time. It was very, very strained family relationship, lots of broken relationship, a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah.
And so there was it just was a there was it was a sad story. And but Jaden, my son, I remember when we went to visit the family in St. Louis, he's like, I want to go up in the arch. And so we went up in the arch, and we get up to the top, and there are people up there, obviously top, and there's like the people that work there. And he was like, my great granddad helped build this.
That's so cool.
And as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about, this her grandfather's name was Don. And I don't know anything, I don't know how his life ended. I know what I've, bits and pieces that I've heard. But man, what, like, for his legacy, as small as it was, as a steel worker, and he went and did that, and probably never ever thought,
Yeah.
I hope one day my great grandson comes here and sees that I got to do this. But it happened, and that's such a rich.
Mm.
It gives you motivation. Like, it's a
Yeah.
powerful motivating factor to think, yeah,
But
because it speaks to legacy, and I think
yeah,
we
and he
lose.
didn't he didn't like you said, it's the thing to remember though, is he was just doing his job. Like, yeah, he
Absolutely.
had to be part of a really cool thing, but he was just doing his job. I think what's difficult is you might hear oh, Joel is making a suicide prevention app, or he wrote a kid's book or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, and in the end, maybe no one would ever care about that. That's fine. But like, it's not about doing something huge that leaves a legacy. It's about doing something with your family that leaves a legacy, whether it is just being more intentional about, what you're doing with them. And that might be the thing that leaves a legacy, because they continue that, whether it's, taking your kids out or reading to them or doing something like that. Like I thought a lot about that last night. So I was just, it's so funny. Like, you're talking about relationships and stuff. My family's been interesting because my brother is, he's this, now he's engaged, but he is incredibly successful, and he is, what are you doing? All I hear is noise on your end. What are you doing?
I'm hitting on the desk. I was actually sending a text, but can you really? That's okay.
Yeah, I hear
Sorry.
every single thing you're doing on your desk right now.
Okay, old man. Sorry.
No, at one point, were you writing something down on a piece of paper?
I was.
Yes, I can hear. I heard every stroke of that pen or pencil.
Gosh, are you like part of the Incredibles, or
No, but
like?
are you using? If you're using the mic in your computer, it's going to pick up on everything that's right next to it.
Oh my God. You're the person in Encanto who can hear everything. That's what it is. It's your
That was one of the funniest things when after the movie came out and people were like, "Hold on, can we talk about how terrible her life was? If you can hear every single thing everywhere all the time." And you're like, they made it seem like it was this funny thing. But I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, you hear everything, every
and
argument.
you can say, I know how that feels.
Oh my, you shut up. You shut up. You shut your dirty mouth. Anyway, oh my, just, yeah, keep hitting things, do whatever.
Beep
Oh my gosh.
beep beep. Okay, we're back on track. Sorry.
Yes, no, 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 no. But the legacy, the intentionality of it. Like, so my brother and I, we were always at odds when we were younger. Now it's different as we get older. I think you kind of do that. You soften. You don't get on each other's nerves as much, or that changes. You can be a little bit more mature about it. But like, he sent me this clip because we grew up, which is so funny. So this is really interesting, right? So like, we grew up on Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia and stuff, because like my dad, we were homeschooled. My dad and my mom would read those books. We had those books. And what's funny is, I don't think that he thought of this, but he had saw this podcast of this Tolkien expert, and they were talking about something. They're talking about the story of Frodo and Sam as they're about to go to Mordor and take the ring. And it's like Frodo's so discouraged, and Sam kind of talks about, hey, like, what if we're in a story? Like, what if we are the hero? Essentially, what if we're in a story? And then he's like, the experts, like, we are. And that's the beauty of Tolkien's literature, is that we are in a story. We're in God's story, and he's the one that comes and he helps us anyway. And what was funny was, though, like, thinking about that, thinking about my brother sending me that, because we have that shared love of Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia and everything. And then immediately going, I want to start reading to my kids like my parents did, because we read bedtime stories, but they're these short stories. And I thought, and I texted my wife literally after my brother sent me that. I was like, I want to start reading Narnia again, but like, read it to the girls, and we just go through the book. Like, legitimately, we'll start page one, and we'll read a couple pages at night, and then the next night we'll read the next 2 pages or 3 pages, and the next night, well, and we'll just do it until the book's done. And we'll do all the books, because I just thought about like how, and then we're talking about legacy, and it just clicked to me too. Like, that's a legacy as well. My dad would read to us every night, no matter what. He would read to us, and this is really funny. He would read to us. This was back when we had cassette tapes, and he would record himself reading to us on the cassette tape. And so then what he would do is, the next night, so if he was reading, he would then play back what he had read the previous night. And so we were just hearing these stories, and I still remember the stories he read to me, because it was ingrained. And I mean, it's going to sound so funny, but even on sleepovers, I would have my cassette player, and I would listen to what my dad read to me, because it just helped me fall asleep. And I loved it. And even when my sister got older, at one point she read a book to us, and I even remember that story, because it was that. And I'm going, that's legacy too, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, you coded an app that did this, or you you made a structure that's a landmark, right? Like it could literally just be that you read to your kids every night, and then because of that, those stories were ingrained in them, and then later that might be the thing that they connected with their kids or with someone else, right? You never know. So I never even said my bad. I don't even know what my bad was. I think my bad was the freaking workout we did on Wednesday. I hated it. It had a lot of lunges, and I get what's called lunge butt, where your glutes are dead and your butt hurts and you just can't walk barely. You look like an old person
Hmm.
trying to go up and down the stairs. You need like a life alert just in case. Like that's how it was. I hated that, and I'm still reeling from that workout. But anyway, sorry. I felt like I need to. Hold on. Here's my bad. All right, now it's gone. So anyway, we can go back to the other thing if you want.
No, I think we were good. We need to probably do wins. What's your
We do.
win?
Well, that my win
You did.
was yeah, my
You
win was the app part. Yeah. What about you?
my quick one. I have had a couple of opportunities to respond to conversations via text or email, and instead of responding and sending, I I write it, I delete it, and then either I come back in a better way. Essentially, the win is holding my tongue. Honestly,
Nicely done.
I've not like reacted when I could have, and so I was like, you know what, that's not easy for me because I'm very much so I can be very reactionary of like, oh, but and I have been. There's been a couple of days this week that I've just reacted, but in this case, especially like there was one today, like I got a text and I was about to fire it off, and then I was like, that's not going to help, and it's only going to make a not really great situation worse, and so I didn't send it, and I'm just letting it lay, and that feels good because you don't have to. I'm having to remind
Well
myself I
done.
don't have to fight every battle. So
Yeah. Way to go. Way to go.
yeah,
That's huge.
look at us.
Us. Do you want to you want to start reading off some wins?
We got a few.
Let's do it. Hey, by the way, if you haven't already, there is a certain way that we go ahead and get wins. It's really simple. All you have to do is text win to a specific number, and it's not even that hard. It's just one little number, and you say win, and then you will then get a text every Wednesday for, hey, what is your win? I think that I just want to double check. I always forget the number. I need to write this thing down. There it is.
Four
All
two
right.
three.
Yep.
I had it pulled up.
210.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, 4777.
There you go.
Look at
So that's
us.
all you got to do. You got to text win to 423-210-4777. And every Wednesday, you will get a, hey, what is your win today? And we will read that on the podcast. All right, Shannon, go ahead. Read them out.
This is cool. This is a dad celebrating a win for his son who's going into his senior year. He's been cut every year since the sixth grade from being on the school basketball team.
Oh,
And
man.
he found out today that he has made the varsity basketball team for his senior year.
Heck yes. Way to
That's a
go.
really cool win. Darren, thanks for sending that in.
Man, wait. So that means every year he kept trying. That's huge.
For 6 years. Yeah. And he writes hashtag perseverance. So yeah.
Amen. Okay. That's great.
So okay, I hadn't read this one. I was like, oh, I don't know. This kind of looks like it's going to go. This is going to be a downer. He says this one doesn't sound like a big win, but it was. Our Great Dane got bloat last night, which is fatal. It's where the stomach flips,
Ooh.
cutting off the intestines to and from. It's a horrible thing, he says. Went to the emergency vet. They ended up having to put him down. That's sad. That was like, I think that was like, is that what I'm
Oh
thinking
my.
that he's saying?
Okay.
Ooh. Now for the win. We are not wealthy. No one in our families are. However, I was able to pay the $1,200 vet bill without hurting our finances. It was a
Wow.
vacation fund that I've been trying to work on, but for this poor city boy, that was a win. And so that's from Donnie. So man, what a loss, your family dog. But
But
I
but
get it
also like
though.
way to go. And way to make the hard call. I mean, that's not easy. Like you could have said, "No, I've been saving up for this vacation. I'm going to keep that." But the fact that you were like, "You know what? No. Like, I'm going to do this to protect the finances of my family. That's huge. Way to go,
Yep.
Johnny.
Yep. Really cool. Hey, do you have any?
I do not. I'm trusting the text of these this week. So
Okay.
we're going with the
So
ones that
then
we got from the text thread.
next is, and I don't have a name for this one, but they just said realizing that having a loss isn't always a losing battle, more of a humbling experience, and it should not be lingered on.
That's good, bro. Preach. I think we might need to start saying, "Hey, make sure to say your name and your win, so we know."
Yeah, I do say it in those texts, but people are
Some people
stubborn
forget.
and they're not. Yeah. Um,
Okay,
yeah.
got some
Okay.
more.
Yeah. There's another one. So this one is I spent 30 minutes in prayer this morning for a handful of people and situations that need God to provide a miracle. That's good. I mean, hey, 30
I
minutes
love
is
that.
more than,
That's more than what I do any day.
yeah. And then here's another. I'm trying to see if I have a name to go, but yeah, it's the same thing. No name. On vacation, took my girls fishing, caught seven large sharks, and then had pizza for lunch and played a game of mini golf. Good times with my girls. Seven sharks. I
Wow.
don't know who this is, but I mean, okay, yes, that's fantastic. You're having pizza and playing mini golf with your girls. That's
I want to
huge.
know
But
about the sharks, though. I want to know. Yeah, I want to know. I want the name of this person, and I want to know about these sharks you caught.
I'm so impressed with seven large sharks. Like
I'm like, and
it feels
what's
like a
large?
fishing
What are we
story.
talking about? Yeah, I know. Like, it was this. How big was it? Well,
Oh
okay,
man!
it just got bigger every time. My
And
gosh.
then each of the seven sharks got bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is okay. This is the last one. This is from my friend Bert. He says, I'm a middle school teacher, and my win this week was hearing from several of my parents telling me that I was their student's safe person at school. I was the one who
Oh,
their
that's
student
cool.
felt the safest with, could talk about anything. It was my win, but more importantly, it was God's way of telling me that I'm doing what he's commissioned me to do. And I want to tell you, this guy, I'm gonna shout out because he's a really good friend. He is a history teacher at a middle school. He has more degrees. He's gone. I think he's got his two masters. Like he could run any
Wow.
school. I mean, he is top notch, and for he's applied for various administration jobs, and there's been times when he's applied and he's gotten turned down, and that lands
Oh,
hard. You know, it's
yeah.
frustrating because you're like, I know he's certainly capable of doing this and doing it well, and I've just know, like being able to see every at the end of every school year. I'm always like, so anything changing for next year, and
Yeah.
and for him to be able to like come out of this school year, he sees he's where he's supposed to be for however long. This is where God's placed him, and he's just so good at it. Like he is truly. I mean, students, we were out with them. There's never a time that we go out to eat with them that someone doesn't walk up and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Finley, I was in your." I mean,
Yeah.
he's just that kind of teacher. So
I
yeah,
love that.
really, really cool. So
I'd
that's
say
yeah,
I
we
do.
got
I have a couple I know just from here's the other thing too. Like, you don't even have to have the win from, hey, what's your win? I'm just going to shout out a couple people that I've had good conversations with this week. One of them is the friend that was going to help me out with the back end of the app. Like, he has been trying to he started his own business on the outside of what he already does with AI, working on basically like helping people generate leads and all that kind of stuff. And he got his first monthly client for like $300.
that's cool.
And it was huge. You were texting about it, and I'm like, in the text about, well, I'm probably going to go with this. I don't know if I'll need you. And he's like, that's totally fine. And he says, like, I got this, that guy that I was telling you I was pitching to, like, he agreed, and I've got now a $300 a month client. I'm like, that's awesome. And to him, like, his whole thing has been, I just, I need to find things on the outside of what I'm already doing with work to help provide for my family better and put us in a better position. And I just love it. Like, I love that he's doing it. I get that. And then another friend, who he's at the gym, his name is Yogi. So that guy's name was Will. This guy's name is Yogi. He's great. He is awesome, awesome entrepreneur. He has a really cool story. He used to be an alcoholic. Um, he's been sober for years and years and years, and he loves to tell that story. Like he's been trying to push on talking about that he said talking about that within his community too, like within the Indian community, because he's Indian, is there's this understated, but it's everyone kind of there's an issue with alcoholism and
Mm,
drugs, and he said it's prevalent in his community and people don't talk about it because there's a stigma. And so he's been really trying to be more honest and open about like what he went through and how he's journeyed through that. But on top of that, one thing that he's had this terrible tinnitus, and it's just that constant ringing in your ear and pain in
hmm.
his neck, and it's terrible. And he's been getting some work done through the guy who's done a lot of needling work on me for different things with muscles, and like they've been doing shocks and needling into his neck area. And he said like he finally, like there was a couple days where he had complete relief. It never even like popped up again, and that was huge. And he was so
Yeah.
excited. And next week though, he's and this is, we got to be praying for it, but next week he's going to get the major surgery to try to see if he can get it fixed. And he's like, that's a win too. Like he's had the relief, but then also like hopefully this is the solution. So I mean, shout out to Yogi. Like he is super kind, great dude, and loves to support other people. But just like also just just a great story. Um, so yeah, there's a couple just from even my talking with a couple people just this week and just living, which is the other thing. I would say this to all those who are listening now. Uh, it's we talk about one of the goals of our podcast being showing what good like modern male friendship can be, and it's talking about the things that matter. And the what we've also talked about, we want to make it so that you could identify wins in your week and then your day. And it would be easy for if someone were to ask you on the street, hey, what was your win? The other flip side to that is we should be in relationship with guys in the capacity to where it would be something like yeah, I mean, I could, if someone were to ask me what a win might be for you for this week, I could list it off because I'm enough intimately acquainted with
Right.
your life that I could say that. And so like I think that's the other aspect is we're not just trying to help people and guys identify the wins in their own life, but help them be able to invest in the friendships in others they have, so that they could say, oh yeah, I've got a win for my friend Shannon because I've been talking to him all week and he was talking about this happened, and I'm like, that's so great, that's got to be a win, right? So
Yeah, and to
be doing
celebrate
that,
that
yeah.
together. Yeah, to be able
Yeah.
to celebrate someone else with someone else is a huge, huge thing. So, yeah.
I'm gonna go celebrate right now. I'm about to go cook up some steaks. I said to my wife this week, I was like, if we got this app going, I'm gonna go. I want steak. It's been a while since I've had some steak. I'm gonna cook myself up steak. I'm gonna have steak all weekend. So sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, but I am. I'm about to go grill like 6 steaks.
Do it. Grill those
Oh,
steaks, man. Like nobody has ever grilled steaks
but
before.
here's
And
a
I'll
question:
celebrate that you're celebrating.
what is like if you could just choose a food, not just a food, but like a plate of food, like a meal. Mine is, and I don't know why. I think it has nostalgia to it because my mom used to make it for my birthday when I was younger. She would make. I don't have it. I didn't buy that steak, but she would make London broil steak, and then she would make mac and cheese and mashed potatoes. And I don't know why, but I love that meal. And so for me, celebrating this week, I was like, I'm getting steak, mac and cheese, and mashed potatoes, and I'm
There
eating
you
that
go.
all weekend.
There you
And
go.
of course, when I told McGinnis that, he was like, "That's not you. That's not going to be
That's
great
not
for
on your
your
meal
nutrition."
plan.
No, it's not. You're going to be way over and everything, but okay.
And you're like,
Uh,
McGinnis, just take a
Shut
break
up.
just for
You should, yeah,
5 minutes,
take
5 days. Yep.
exactly. So anyway, what about for you? Before we end, what's yours?
Fried chicken.
Just nothing else, or just fried chicken?
I mean, that's the celebratory meal. If there is a celebratory meal, it's fried chicken, and then all the fixings to go with it: mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. Yeah, the like,
Is it a
just
specific fried chicken, or is it like homemade? Like, how do you do it?
oh no, I can tell you, yeah, the homemade fried chicken is hands down better than any other fried chicken.
Ooh,
But we have some pretty good fried chicken places here in Chattanooga. We have Champy's Chicken, and that's a pretty. They're known for
Okay.
their fried chicken. We also have this place. It's a hole in the wall dive. It's called Bees, and Bees is like this 100-year-old restaurant,
Oh my
and
goodness.
it is like you walk into it and you go back in time. Like all the tables are these round tables, and they
Yeah.
bring out the lazy There's a lazy Susan, so they put plates of food on the
Stop.
table, and you just spin it. And all that's really not all that great, but their fried chicken is it is I mean matchless. It just there's something about it. And I truly I say this every time. Like my family doesn't like going there because they're like, this is just so it's like a hole in a wall. But it reminds me of eating at my grandmother's because
Yeah.
she would do fried chicken. She would do food like that. And but yeah, celebratory meals definitely
I
gonna
love
have
that.
fried chicken in it.
Okay. Well, one of these days, I've even thought about because we have a mutual friend now, more on my end, Ryan, who comes to Chattanooga a lot, and I was like, one of
Hmm.
these days, I should just come with you to Chattanooga so I can just hang out with Shannon and work from Chattanooga. But like, I would totally do that. We still have to plan the next meetup, but I mean, I would love to
That's
just hang
kind of
out.
gotten kicked down the
I
road a
know
bit, but
we're
you need to
so
do that,
busy.
yeah. And we go to Bees, yeah. We're stretched thin.
We, oh my gosh! All right,
Somebody had
everyone.
to say it.
Somebody had to say it. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow us on all the platforms, and so whether it's Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Thank you for listening. Highlight your win this week. Text it to us. Send it to us on all the on socials. That'd be great. Or you can text it to us. But also, too, highlight your win, and then try to highlight a win in someone else this week too. Identify a win in someone else this week, and say, "Hey, I think that's a win in your life this week." And if you got to tell them, then you tell them. But thanks again, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Cheer, buddy.
Bye.